Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, here with Ole Miss legend and former basketball player Tim Thomas. And we're going to talk about Ole Miss just completely boat racing Arkansas. And Tim, it's probably better to boat race the team than be on the other side of it. I think we discovered that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's good. You sleep better at night after a football game, basketball game, baseball game. Ole Miss wins, you sleep better. It's a real thing. So it was a good night. I was so proud of them coming back strong. They had a rough week. Uh, they got boat raced by Auburn and by Tennessee. A couple of weeks ago. Not as bad against LSU, but we got to learn how to win on the road, and hopefully they'll come up this Saturday against A&M.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. But before we do that, let's talk about the Arkansas game. And this is a nice, handy dandy little graphic I built. But Ole Miss shot well, but traditionally this season Ole Miss has shot pretty well. But the thing that drew my attention on this graphic is Ole Miss out rebounded Arkansas 43-28. Is there anything that stands out here for you?
I think they worked on it a lot this week. I heard it in the press conference, and let's just talk about this secret to rebounding. The secret is effort. The secret is boxing out, getting your butt into them, getting your arms up, see the ball, go get the ball with maximum effort each and every time. And we have an issue with that at Ole Miss basketball right now. The effort at times, last night it was good. I was glad to see that. Had a lot to do with Arkansas and their culture issues. We may talk about that. They definitely got culture issues at Arkansas basketball. But I was proud of our guys. I was good rebounding. Flanigan, I think, had 11. It was good to see. But it's an effort issue. It's a want to, you want to? Yeah, want to. It's that thing, and it's an effort. I learned that back in the day, and that's what it's all about. I was 6'8", guard guys as tall as Sharp. A lot of those guys say you got to get your butt into them. You got to get your arms out, spread out. And then when it comes off, go get the ball. Don't stand there and wait for it to come to you. You got to go get the ball. Simple, easy, but it takes a lot of effort and want to.
Yeah. And one thing that was good for me to see is last week, everybody knows what happened. Allen Flanigan did not have the best week last week. Now, he didn't score but 10 points against Arkansas. But you mentioned the 11 rebounds, and that kind of lets you know the want to is there. The effort was there for Allen Flanigan. And as you talked about earlier in the season about Jamin Brakefield, if you're struggling, defend and rebound, and the rest kind of comes.
Yeah, Flanigan may have had one of his better games last night. He was into the game. He was into the flow. He had issues going back to Auburn. We knew it would happen. It's just hard not to. He did really well. I thought he's not a three-point shooter, and the guys talked about it on the network last night. But he could do other things really well, and he does those really well. He has a real good fade back shot, and like Morrell does. And Brakefield, I praise him too much. I think Beard said that one day. You just can't praise some of these guys. They quit. If you praise them too much, they quit. He did okay sometimes off and on. I was proud of some of his three-point plays. He does that really well. But several turnovers, just things that back to where he was before. But I'm looking forward to this team getting together. And we got to talk about this going away from home. We got to get our stuff together. We got to get our culture together. And it's not easy. As you see all these games, Alabama beat Auburn last night in Tuscaloosa. The point comes where you got to create your own energy. The crowd is going to be crazy at College Station. Somehow or another, these guys will get together. These older guys, Juju and Morrell and Flanigan, Brakefield, they got to get together and create their own energy. Every play, congratulate each other and high fives or whatever. Let each other know they're doing good and keep encouraging and pumping people up. You got to create your own energy, and hopefully they'll do that this week because A&M is very good. They're very talented. Coleman inside is a real deal. The Taylor guard and the Radford guard, they're really good, and they're at College Station. They'll be hard to beat.
Yeah, but it is a game that I think Ole Miss can win. It isn't like going to where you're playing a top 5 Tennessee team that they're completely up in Knoxville. It's not like going to Auburn like that. A&M is going to be difficult, but it's probably closer to what Ole Miss saw against LSU than what they saw against Auburn and Tennessee, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's not that crazy. The Jungle is probably one of the Tennessee. It's tough to play at those places. They're all of them is hard, but I think we got a chance. I think Arkansas beat them a week or so ago at College Station, so it's possible. Buzz Williams does a good job. They got a tough team. The big guy inside I talked about, Coleman's really good, but our guys, we can just come together and defend and rebound and create our own energy. It's possible.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, and I do this every time Ole Miss plays Texas A&M. Buzz Williams should be a simple name, but I always do a character from the TV show Psych. It was like Buzz Peterson or something like that. And that's the one that's automatically in my head, and I always, without fail, call him that as well. Now, after Texas A&M, I think you have Auburn coming into the pavilion, and then you have Mississippi State coming into the pavilion, and this is a situation, and I tell people on my show all the time that Ole Miss does need some margin for error at home. They play really well at home, and it's going to be Ole Miss is going to be a tough out for absolutely everybody at home. But inevitably, Ole Miss is probably going to slip up this season, so they need a little margin for error. What are the games on the road do you think that Ole Miss they're the most gettable opponents?
Yeah, I looked at that this past week. You got to think that maybe we could get South Carolina, even though they beat Kentucky the other day. Missouri, I would think, could be possible. Georgia, maybe. They're playing rather good, though. It's going to be tough. All of these guys, we just got to win at home. I don't care if it's Alabama or Auburn. We got to win somehow. You can win that. We got to get that win. And like you said, we may lose one here and there. So the ball don't go right. We have a turnover or something. So we need to get a couple of wins away from home, like you said. And Joe Lenardi's got us on the bubble now, first 4 out. So we're kind of teetering. So we need a couple, at least one, maybe two. And then we may have to win a couple in the SEC tournament to get ourselves into the NCAA tournament. It's according how it goes. But we got to win, like you said, 9-9. That would be ideal. But if we could get 10-8, I think we'd be a shoe-in for the tournament.
Have you heard any information on TJ Caldwell?
What I heard was on the TV last night, and Beard's just said possible ankle injuries, what I heard, and they would evaluate it this morning. They can do some great things these days with treatments to get him back, and he definitely needed. They need depth. We need depth. That is one of our issues. We just don't have depth. Our guys on away games, especially, we talked about the second half, the legs get tired, and the defense, if you play to the maximum defense like Beard wants, it hasn't been happening. Let's just say that real quick. Like Beard's defense is not happening right now. What he would like Ole Miss to be doing and rebounding has not happened. This is not Beard's past team. He has been major defensive coach minded, and for whatever reason, our culture, the guys he's brought in, and let's just go ahead and say this might be the worst team that Beard has at Ole Miss. We can only look forward that when he bring these guys in, like the McDonald's American guy, John Bowl, the big guy, they got him coming in, and that Flatsky guy, I saw him last night behind the bench, the guy, other recruit they got. So these guys that can really play, he's getting his guys in, like Kiffin did. He's going out and getting these guys that he wants that fit his system, fit Pete Golden's system. And that's what Beard's doing. He hadn't got them yet, but he's getting there. But with his team, I still believe we can make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, me too. And we talk about depth and all that. One of the players that every time he comes in, I like watching him play is Austin Nunes. And he is an old school pass first point guard. And he doesn't even look for a shot at times. I guess he still needs to figure that out a little bit, but I think he came in and played pretty admirable last night. And I think the offense itself, his dichotomy with Juju and him, that little difference between the two players, I think that could be a interesting thing moving forward.
Yeah, it's needed. It's definitely needed. We need to get him going. I don't think he feels real good about his offense right now. I can see he's real tentative on his shots, going inside. He's tentative. He wants to pass, and that's okay. But Juju had a good game. It was good to see that. But Nunes, he's definitely going to help us down the way. I know Beard's trying to put him in a little bit at certain times, getting some playing time. And Marshall, he's going to have to help us some. And hopefully TJ comes back. And Brandon Murray has got to come on. He has not come on like Beard thought he would. We really thought, and I did, you did. We thought that Brandon Murray would really make a difference. So he does his thing. He makes a play here and there, and made a big three last night in the corner, and it was good to see. So he's got the potential. Him not starting and playing all the time, I know that's part of it, coming off the bench. He's not used to it. But we need him. We need Marshall. We need Caldwell back and Nunes to play well for us to continue to doing well, especially away from home. We got to have some depth. We got to have fresh legs. For us to shoot these threes and make them, we need fresh legs.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tim, thank you so much for coming on the show. And about the same time next week, I think we'll be talking about another game against Auburn, and we'll talk about what's going on in College Station.
Good deal. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. God bless.